Yes, we are live. Hello, good morning, marvelous entrepreneurs. Our guest is already here, and we have a very special guest today. Like, she'll be going to talk about the financial freedom for women. So, if you have any questions on the finance part of it, you can post your questions in the comments. Um, do type in hashtag live if you're watching it live, or if you're watching it as a replay, type hashtag replay, and do let us know like where you are watching this from. Uh, so let us make use of our guest in gaining as much information about the financial aspect. Like, even I'm also not that literate in the financial part. So, briefly introducing our guest, Ravit Lorenstein is basically from Israel, and she moved to Los Angeles at a very young age of 12. And like after her stint with real estate and lot of financial hardships and things like that, like she now is into financial consulting, and she helps people in gaining a better financial shape, and thereby also helping them to save their marriages and all the bad things that could have happened. So mainly, like, she helps people in getting our finances better. So passing on the mic to Ravit. Ravit, welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming to Marvelous Entrepreneurs.
Thank you. Thank you for
Now,
having me.
the mic is yours.
Thank you so much. It's funny, when I got started, I had no clue about the financial field at all. So, I've actually learned a lot, and I'm kind of like proud to be in this business because it actually made me take the first steps toward like financial independence, which is amazing. Um,
Okay.
I've always wanted to like help people. So anybody who doesn't have any background in this can do something. I think the main thing is the financial literacy. It's getting into a better financial shape. It doesn't matter what the situation is, if it's like debt, if it's student loans, if it's whatever it might be. You could always do something about it. And even if you don't have a lot to save or that kind of thing, and saving is also like developing a muscle. It's one of those
Okay.
things where people always say, oh, when I'm done with the debt, I could save. Or when I'm get to my goal, I will save. Or if I make more money, I will save. And it's just,
Yes.
it's one of those things. But it's like when you start exercising, and let's say you haven't exercised in a long time, you feel that muscle, working and that kind of thing. So it's the same situation. It's kind of like a muscle that has to be developed. And then eventually you can increase and increase the amounts and whatever else you need to do. But it's something that has to take place in order to change your financial future. If you do not put priority on it, even for a small amount, it doesn't have to be a large amount, but if you put away $10, $15 or whatever, according to whatever currency you're in, I'm in the US, but you know what I'm saying? If you put some money away every month, it will get to where you want to get to, because all that stuff adds up. So it's one of those things that I learned, that I was like, wow.
Absolutely right. Actually, like, I think this fear or this ignorance about money, or like somehow, like, it is more in women, I feel. Even in our part of the world, like, women are more hesitant in when it comes to financial things. And like, how can we get over that? It will
Well,
be very useful if you can give some tips towards that. Because
okay. Yeah.
see, another thing is that like, for a very long time, even I also had this feeling that finance is not my cup of tea.
That's exactly what I thought before I started working. I was like, financial, what? Like, there's so many things. I don't know anything about it. What do I do? You know what I mean? But it's funny. It's kind of like if you, first of all, I think the first thing is you have to have a goal, right? If there's something that you want to do, if there's something that you want to get to, just in general, there has to be a decision to get to that point, right? So
Yes.
it could be buying a house. It could be moving to buying whatever it is, like traveling. It could be whatever it is that you would like to do for the future. Once there's a decision for that, then the first step is, okay, let's look and see, you know, how to get you to that point. But the first thing is actually the control. So if you can control even one aspect of that, let's say, you know, because usually, you know, either one spouse usually takes and does one thing, and then the woman does something else, or whatever. Whoever is stronger in that suit usually takes over, right? But if you can basically take a small part of that, it doesn't matter if it's like, you know, if it's savings or if it's whatever you want, right? It's like if
Right.
you it's for example like the different holidays, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's coming around the corner. And you know, I know you guys are probably don't have, I don't know if you guys have Christmas or whatever holidays you have, but like family time, it's always like, okay, well, I have to think about what to get for birthdays or what to get for whatever. So if you think about that, and if you're in charge of that, you kind of have to prepare yourself for that specific birthdays or family events, and it's gifts or whatever, right? Especially if you have a big family. So that's just an example. If you basically take over that, and you know that you have 3 months and you're going to have to spend $50, let's say, right? Then you
Right.
know that you have 3 months to get to get that lined up, so then you don't have to constantly borrow or whatever you have to do, but you know it's coming. So when you
Right.
know it's coming, and you're gonna, if you're putting it on yourself, and then you know, you basically start planning, and the planning is the part that gets you to where you need to go, but you have to really be strict on yourself.
Okay. So discipline is the key word there.
Discipline is very important. Yes, and that's what we're here. We're here to help people, like literally hold their hand. Okay, this is this much. Okay, good. This is this much. Okay, let's look at what's happening this month. Let's look at how, you know, did you spend it on some stuff that you really didn't need? You know what I mean? Or did you, because different things have, like, we all have unforeseen things coming, and, you know, whatever. But if you're prepared and you have like an emergency fund, or if you've got a specific amount that you're planning for the future, there's a whole plan behind it. But but you have to be, you have to basically, it's funny when it actually is like irritating, and like you can't look at it. This is the time that you need to look at it even more, because if you don't start now, then who will, right? But I find that it's, for the people that it's harder for them to look at it, and if they actually start and take the first step, they will be very surprised, and they will be very proud
Right.
that they did that, because they'll see the immediate change, and then they'll see that they're closer to where they want to be than before they even started, right?
Right.
So yeah.
So, what if that person has a very limited income?
Okay, well, the thing is this, well, we also, I mean, the thing is, if we're in the US and Canada, basically, that's basically what we are. But we also help people with earning extra income too. But let's
Okay.
say you're in a different country and you just don't have. The point is this: it's not so much how much as it is the discipline of putting away and starting to save every month. Like, if you know,
Okay.
I mean, we have like all these different things all over the world where, you know, there's the online shopping, and there's like 50 million things that catches your attention, and you're just like, okay,
Right.
It's just really easy, right? But if
Yeah.
you have that goal sitting in front of you everywhere, if it's the gift or if it's the traveling or whatever it may be, and you know you need to hit that goal, you have to have a certain amount to be able to buy that thing or whatever you want to do with it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's your discipline.
Okay.
And then you just have to keep looking at what you need to do, like where you're going. So if you had a goal of the gift, let's say it's a gift in like 2 months, you have to come up with like, I'll just say $20, right? And then you're doing all the stuff and all that, and you're not coming up. The main thing is you have to make it a priority to put away money every month that you can't touch. Because if it's in your account, guess what? The
Yeah,
online
we'll be.
shopping, the credit card
Yeah.
goes in, the whatever disasters happen. But there's
Right.
like ways of actually putting it away without you constantly taking it out, and it's harder to take out.
Right.
So then it becomes a habit. So then whether you like it or not, it's happening every month. It's coming out every month. So then,
Okay.
and it could be $10. It doesn't matter, like in terms of the currency, if it could be small, it could be, it doesn't have to be so much. It could
Okay.
just be a little bit, but that little over a
Yeah,
few more
we'll
months
add up
will
to
adds
a
up.
bigger.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then you're that much closer. And then once you have the money, you go, okay, good. I have the $20. Okay, good. I'm going to get the gift now.
Okay. So when it comes to financial saving, like what type of is there any particular type of saving that is more suitable for women with limited income, or like what? Because a lot of times I have seen that people feel, okay, I can't go for a fixed deposit because that has got a limitation, a basic limitation. And then like mutual funds also, like not many people are aware of. So like what type of financial investment would you suggest for people with limited income source?
Okay. Well, basically, I'll tell you something. I mean, I can talk for the US mainly because I'm in the US, but usually it's different for every person. It all depends what they want the money to do for them. It all depends if they want to pay taxes on that specific thing. Obviously, everything's legal. I mean, there's some certain things that you don't have to pay taxes on, or you pay taxes up front and not at the end when you're pulling out the money. It all depends what is their goal and what they want to do with it. So if it's like short term or if it's long term, it all depends on the situation. And that's how it kind of becomes more of a personal thing, because then you
Okay.
can decide, okay, well, this is how much I have and this is what I would like to do. And then you could basically diversify it and make it either like a more of a long term and some short term or whatever. But there's many ways. There's a ton of different ways to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the aspects they have to take care of before they finalize on what type of saving they have to go for?
I think the first thing is to realize where they want to be. That's the first thing. And if they're actually going to change the situation and change the habits that they're doing, right? So it's the same
Mhm.
thing. If somebody wants to go on a diet and they keep eating ice cream, right? They're not going to lose the weight, right? So
Right.
the same thing is if they have a specific goal, let's say they want to travel and they want to go in a year, right?
Mhm.
And they know that they need a certain amount of money to travel to go to wherever, India or wherever, it doesn't matter, right?
Okay.
So let's say, so if they know that they don't put away every month or they spend it on other stuff, they're not going to get to go on the trip. It actually puts in more discipline because they really want to go. Their kids are bothering them every day about the trip.
Mhm.
Their
Right.
family's calling them, when are you coming? So all that stuff is almost like a constant, reminder. So in
Okay.
that way, then basically they'll be like, okay, great. If I don't go, my kids are gonna be mad. My family's gonna maybe be really upset and not talk to me for a little while or whatever the situation is, right? So that is, but it has to be a decision, and it has to be big enough for them to be able to change. Because if there is no need to change, nothing's going to change.
Right.
Because things are just going to be the same. They're going to still spend all this money, and they're still going to, be paycheck to paycheck every month, and they're still going to get into major debt or whatever the situation is, and then later they can't get out of it. They're basically spinning their wheels, but there's no change, and basically, they're going to be stuck in the same situation, and they can't get out of it. So that's the main problem, yeah.
Right. I think you are right there, because even I had wanted to plan for a trip abroad. I wanted to take my family abroad, but it has not happened all these years.
It's just a matter. Well, I guess no one's bothering you about it. That's the thing. If like your family or whoever would be like, "Hey, we should have gone like a year ago. What are we doing?" Then maybe you would leave. It would be constant reminder. You know what I mean? Sometimes
Right.
because we can, and things happen, and I find that if you don't actually plan it and put it on the books, okay, we're gonna be going in whatever, it could be June of 2021, whatever that is, and set a date, and basically announce it that this is the date, right? Then it will be a year after year after year, because you haven't put priority on it. And you basically, that's the first step, but you have to basically put it there and then start creating what you need to do to get there, and that will start increasing the urgency. But if you don't actually call it specifically exactly when you're going, it will be year after year. We've all done that. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna go on a trip, blah blah blah, and then it's like a year and another year and another year, and nothing happens. But yeah, unless you just say, look, we have to go at this
Okay.
particular time, do or die, we're going. And then you just put the urgency there, and then if you announce it, then other people hear it, and they'll keep saying, oh, I thought you said in June 2021 we're going to blah 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 blah, right?
Yes.
And then you're like, yes. Because then you can't get out of it. It's like making a promise that you can't go back on. Now obviously things happen, things might happen, I don't know, COVID hit, I don't know, whatever, and maybe your plans have changed a little bit. But let's say you postponed it like 3 months or 4 months or whatever it is, but it's still in the same line. It's not like you've got rid of it completely. You know what I mean? But at least if you put it there, I'm telling you, this is the secret of, and it's the same thing with anything that you want. I think it's things that are very important to you. It could be, and even goals or whatever. If you don't literally plan it out, you get so busy and life just kicks in, and it's just very ordinary. It's not that it's ordinary, it's just that you're in the same thing over and over, and you're kind of doing it over and over, day after day. But if you don't put the urgency there, then yeah, you're just gonna keep pushing it off.
Okay. So far, like it all feels like the same kind of advices like what I received for my business: goal setting, planning, discipline, setting a deadline to achieve the target. So all the same principles are applied here also. So do you think that there is any role for the mindset of a person in when it comes to financial freedom?
Yes, the mindset's very important, because first of all, people always say, oh, it's not a good time to start now, or let's just wait till whatever, like I mentioned before, like, let's wait till this is done, let's wait till that's done. But the problem is that if you don't have the mindset that you want to make a change, nothing's going to happen. But it has to be within you have to decide that. You have to almost get to a position that's uncomfortable to be able to just go, okay, that's it, no more, right? Now the other issue is too the education. So if you don't know what to do, or you don't know how to get out of it, let's say if you're, in debt, for example, right? You have a lot of credit card debt, or whatever the situation is, then you don't know what to do. So that's why you almost like need a financial professional to help you, because that's what we do all day, and this is like our specialty. So but if I was not in this company, I wouldn't have known this. I mean, I know people that have been trying to pay credit cards for the last 12 years and have now made even a little bit into it, because they're doing it all wrong. They're paying the wrong thing to the wrong, and they're not paying. So we basically kind of help them tweak what they're doing, and just kind of like give them a whole schedule, what to pay first, how much, how to get, and we get them out of debt much faster than they would actually be doing it by themselves. So a lot of times I think you need somebody to hold your hand and see how they can improve your situation, and see, and then to see what to do first, because it could be extremely overwhelming with the different things. There's so many different factors. The situations are so many. It's very different between like person to person. So a lot of times people just don't know what to do first, or they just don't know that there's a better way to do, or to like build wealth, or whatever it is that they're trying to do, right?
Right.
So that's the main thing. I think a lot of it's education. So that's why I find that the classes, we have a class tomorrow that's going on, and those kind of classes make people actually take a look and see and go, oh, I didn't know about whatever, wealth building, or I didn't know about like retirement, or I didn't know about, all this all this like stuff that was literally, can you imagine if they actually taught that in school? Like that's what they should be doing, versus teaching them about all this insignificant stuff. I'm not saying that it's all insignificant. I'm sure there's a lot of useful information, but that specific thing is so important. It's crazy like that we don't even know about that.
So now you have a company of your own where you are teaching all this. Is it only
Yes.
for ladies, or open for all people?
No, it's open for all people. The thing is because our company is kind of based in the US and Canada, and basically all the companies that we're working with are in the US and Canada. So when it comes to, if anybody has any ties to the US, we can help them also to be a client. If we could do a free financial plan with them, and kind of work with them on how to be in better financial shape, or whatever the situation is. But the classes are open for anybody. You guys can get on tomorrow. It's on Pacific time, but yeah, just all you have to do is email me at rlfinancialguru GURU @gmail.com.
You I think you can type the
Can I? Okay, let me see.
email.
The chat, right?
Yeah, in the chat.
Okay, chat with the host. And okay, perfect. Let me put comments. No. Let me see where. Okay, here we go.
Basically, like, what exactly do you teach in these classes?
Well, there's different things. 1 second. Gmail. Okay, perfect. So, okay, good. So basically, we have different topics. It's not just me, but it's basically one of our CEOs are doing these classes. One is about building wealth. One is about retirement. One about is cash flow, and like different. There's like different topics. This tomorrow is the last one of the series, and they might do them again at some point, but I'm not sure yet when. But they basically go through different financial concepts during that time. They go through like different things, like it all depends, they could go through like, I mean, debt, it could talk about life insurance, talk about like, I mean, they go through a lot of different things, and it's in an hour, but it's amazing. Yeah. So, and I could let you know also when we have another series, you guys can jump on.
Yeah, sure. You can announce it in the group because this is one part like where even like I want all the members to benefit and learn
Of
and
course.
gain more learning.
Yeah, definitely. So whenever we have them, I'll let you know, and they could all jump on. Just we'll send them a link. They just have to email me with their name, phone number, and email address, and then
Okay.
I will send it to them.
Okay. So, what advice you have to the entrepreneurs, especially the solopreneurs?
Okay, well, the solopreneurs, first of all, basically, again, kind of work on the business in terms of, allocation and the plan. It's almost like, if you think about kind of like, where they want to be and then getting to that point, but basically starting from the beginning, right? Wherever they might be just starting out, they might be a few years down the road. But again, it's the same situation with the goal setting and what they are planning to do, and then how are they allocating the funds. Are they only paying for themselves, like for their paycheck kind of thing, or is it going through the business? I mean, there's like, it depends on whatever's going on, but you know also, are they setting up a pension plan or a 401k for the employees or not? It all depends what's going on. But I know that in California specifically, there's going to be laws coming out that they're going to force people to use a specific plan. And
Mm-hmm.
then it's crazy because it's unfortunately not the best thing for them. So we help companies also set up different plans, which are much better because they
Okay.
have to do it anyway, so we can help them as well. So we help people. We have like a motto of no family left behind. We basically help everybody, and then we also help companies with whatever they may need. So, but it's basically just kind of taking a look at what's the situation and how can we make it better, and what steps needs to be taken in order to get to where you're going, right? And the other thing is, as a sole entrepreneur, I think it's like there's more strain because you're it in the beginning, right? You're starting out. So mindset's very important also,
Okay.
because it's kind of like, it's almost like if you know that you have to put in a certain amount of hours to make the business successful, and you don't do that, right? Because you get sidetracked or whatever. Plus we have social media, it's easy to go, but or whatever it is, but you have to kind of like keep your you have to be very strict with yourself, because ultimately you're the one that's winning, right? If the business wins, you win, right? So I
Yeah.
think it's very important to be able to um, get to the goals and also kind of allocate the amount of money and really know what you're doing, so when you get to that point, that you'll actually get to all those steps that you want to get to. But I think it's definitely like 99% mindset,
Okay.
because it's not like you're going into a job. It's not like you're coming in and out and just going home. You're working, you're putting in the time, because that is your success, right? So
Right.
yeah.
So now, Ravit, like we have entrepreneurs like who are well established also. So, what are the different wealth building ways that you would suggest them?
Well, it just depends where they are with the company, what they're doing right now, where they want to go. There's so many different things. And that's why the seminars are great. Those
No, but
webinars that,
still, like, can you briefly explain the different ways of wealth building because they can consider those options?
well, it all depends. I mean, I don't really know much about the company or where it's, I'm saying, like where they're at, where they want to get to, what they're doing now. You know what I mean? It's kind of like we basically take the scenario that they're in and then see where they want to go. And then the question is, again, we're talking short term. Do they need liquidity? Do they need to be able to, start saving and putting it to specific things? Are they going to build wealth, over time? Can they put the money away for a long time and not have to pull it out? That's all, that's all depends on where they're at and where they want to go and how are they doing financially. I think that's the main thing. It's kind of hard to say because we have some companies that basically are doing okay, but they're basically, doing a lot of, depends, again, it depends on how much they make per year. It depends on the limitations. We've got like the Roth IRA, we've got like, the 401k, we've got like the different ways that they're, we've got even insurance products that, are also wealth building. So it just depends on the contribution, it depends on the deduction, it depends on the taxes, it depends on how long it would take them to withdraw the money, when they want the money to be available, restrictions on how much they could put in, you know what I mean? So it all depends on that. I don't think I really answered you, but it's just more complicated than that.
No, because I just wanted my members to get an idea regarding the different ways that they can consider.
Yeah.
Because we mainly help them get to know more about the various income streams which they can consider, the various methods of wealth building.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The webinars do the trick. They go over all the different things like that, and they're like so good the way that they're being presented that I can't even do it justice. It's so good. I mean, you know what I mean? It literally goes through the different things, and if they get on it, they'll see it. It's pretty amazing, and it's pretty simple to do. So yeah, it's pretty simple to follow what they teach.
Okay. So what other suggestions or advice you have for these women to gain financial freedom?
Okay, well, first of all, in terms of, looking at how much they're making, right? Increasing the amount that they make if they want to, right? Also depends on if they need more money or if they're whatever they're doing is fine with them. Like whatever they're making, do they have enough to save every month? Like are they, what shape are they in? Do they have an emergency fund? Did they have extra in an account that if something happens that they don't have to borrow, right? Like if, I don't know, the tires go out.
One second, I'm just interrupting you. Is there any mathematical calculation for finding out like at what point they'll attain the financial freedom?
There is a number, but basically the number is basically when they reach, it's like when they decide that they want to retire, right? Let's say they're how old they are right now, and let's say they want to retire in whatever 20, 30 years or closer, right? Or sooner than that. There is a specific amount that we can basically figure out how much they need per month. That if they do want to retire, that they'll have that amount of money there, so they don't have to work if they don't need to. So there is a way of figuring that out, basically basically we kind of backtrack from that point to now. And that's how we basically tell them, okay, well, this is what it looks like over here. This is when you're going to retire. We're going to backtrack you to this point. And then this is how much you need to have. This is how much you need to save every month to be able to get to that point, right? But it's not just savings. It's also what they have in place right now. Is it actually building wealth, whatever they have now? What are the options to make those goals happen with whatever they're doing or whatever? So there is definitely a whole like financial analysis of like figuring out exactly how to get to that point.
Okay. Is there any easy tools which they can use for recording their expenses and income?
Yeah, there's a, well, we have, when we sit with people, we fill out like a financial plan, and that
Mm,
goes over all that stuff. But I'm sure they can find out, they can find something similar, on just, putting in the expenses. I think the main thing is to really pay attention to what the money's going every month,
okay.
right? Because some people, they'll go, it's like, well, one example, I heard of one guy who he goes to fill up gas, right? So he's like, okay, good, the credit card, so I know how much I'm filling up gas, right? But then he goes into the liquor store and then he buys the soda, the donuts, whatever he buys, right? But he pays for that cash, so he doesn't know, he doesn't really know how much he's really spending. But then when you add it all up, it's like
Right.
$5 a day or some, and then, multiply that by 30. So,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? So that's like the monthly amount that's being spent. So a lot of times it's just not being conscious of what you're really spending on and not really being aware,
Right.
because you think, oh yeah, I'm making this. A lot of people, they're like, oh yeah, I'm making this much, but I don't know, something doesn't make sense at the end of the month. So when we do the calculations and we do everything, we're like, okay, is that true that you have this much amount of money? And they're like, I don't know, actually, I don't think it's that much, right? And then it turns out that there's like money going in here, money going out there, but they're not aware that the money is going out. So that's
Okay.
why it's important to literally have a notebook, small little notebook, even in the car. And
Mhm.
then every time you buy whatever, coffee, doesn't matter what, right? You write
Okay.
it down on the log thing. And then at the end of the month, if you do it for like 30 days, you'll see exactly where the money's going. And then you'll be very
Okay.
surprised. Sometimes it's like, oh wow, I didn't even realize that there was like $5 here and $5 there, or whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
But it's sometimes escapes you because you're so used to doing that. You're so used to, okay, well, the credit card, but it's not always the credit card. And a lot of times if you do Venmo, you do whatever you're doing, and you have to really keep an eye on these things, and put it, and then you'll see, if you actually list out everything, you'll find all these charges that you're like, oh
Okay.
yeah.
Uh, Now, like, what percentage of our earnings should we save, and what percentage should we keep as the emergency fund?
10% should go for savings automatically.
Okay.
10% should go to any kind of um, charity, I believe, or anything, or like, church, or any
Right. Huh.
donation for even like whatever, I just feel like 10% comes off the top, and then, I think it's mainly like faith, any kind of thing like that. Um,
Okay.
we have, and then emergency fund, you should have at least 6 months or more of your
Okay.
monthly amount of money that you make.
Okay.
So at least 6 months to a year. That's what I would say,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the thing that cushions you in case something happens. Like, for example, COVID happened, right?
Yeah.
Most people were not, obviously we didn't know it was coming, but most people are totally don't have even a little bit left just in case something happens. And the 6 months to a year would have probably saved a lot of people if they did.
Right.
So it's 6 months to a year's income.
Okay. And now, like, if you see people like me, like the major expense is taken by the household expenses. That is where the major expenses come. So in that case, for a personal on the personal ground, like what should be the amount, what should be the percentage of amount income they can keep aside for these expenses?
Okay, well, the thing is this, you have to take a look and see for the house, like for the major of the house. So obviously, it's not the rent, it's not the mortgage, right? It's not like if you own it, it's not that. It's all the other expenses. So you have to see exactly where I would like check exactly where the money is going, right? So let's say, you know, are you buying stuff for your house? Is it every month? Besides groceries, besides eating out. But that's one of those things is also, if you're eating out, are you eating out after you're buying groceries and then you're going to the restaurants 7 days a week? What is happening after that, right? I mean, if it's just logically, okay, good, I bought groceries, it's fine. If you're eating out, that's fine. But you have to take that into an account, right? Because a lot of people, what they do is they'll stock up their fridge and then they'll go eat out anyway. And then the food spoils because it can only last a certain amount. And then, you know what I mean? So they're like doubly spending. So it just depends, just be aware of what you're spending on and buy enough for that, whatever it is. But you just have to take a look and make sure that there's not too many extras that you're kind of wasting. Because if you're doing it for the house, there's so many things that could be for the house, right? But I think you just have to keep track of everything. I'm not saying don't buy food or don't go out and eat and all that, but I'm just saying a lot of people in the US, they buy Starbucks, right? Starbucks coffee, or they buy whatever they buy, right? Or they do the online shopping, right? Oh, I need blah. Okay. So the thing is this, it's like, is it happening once a week? Is it happening twice a week? Some people go and buy a cup of coffee 3 times a day and they don't think about it. They're like, oh, but then when you add it all up, it's like, it's a lot of money per month, right?
Yes.
That they're spending on that, where they could maybe go once and the rest they could just buy a coffee maker and make it at home, right? Because it's easy. It's the same thing. So it all depends what you're spending on and where is it going. And if it's through the household, then what exactly is it? Is it just the eating out? Is it the groceries? Is it there's more? We take everything into account. We take all the expenses of whatever you're spending on, from house payment to all the way through, or rent to all the way through to like cars and whatever gifts. And we literally get into all the different category of even memberships, subscriptions, cable, whatever, right? I mean, it's crazy, but even cable in the US, like if you cut cable, it's like $200 a month if you cut cable. So
here also we have that cable.
You don't have that? You have that?
Yeah, we
Cable?
have
Also
it.
the same, but do they charge? Yeah, it's probably expensive too. But then you have like Netflix, or you have other things. You have like Amazon Prime. You have like all these other things.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is, if somebody is not really watching TV so much and watching Amazon or like watching Netflix, you can cut it down by getting rid of the cable, right? Or there's certain things that if you're not using, you really don't need. So that cuts the cost, and that gives you more money to be able to save and also pay whatever you need, every month. Or, but I think it's just a matter of being more aware and basically really keeping a tab of everything on a monthly basis to see what is like outrageous, what is like you didn't even think about. And then, and the awareness makes you take action and then realize what's going on. And then other than that, you could basically figure out what to change.
Okay. So this question is on behalf of the entrepreneurs who are just starting out. Okay. What I've noticed is that most of them, they earn a certain amount and they invest that full amount into their business because they are trying to establish. They are in the process of, in the startup process. So is it a good idea they reinvest all their earnings into their business, or should they consider saving?
The thing is this, in the beginning, everybody does that. I mean, I think that until you start making money.
So that is why I asked this particular question. I know that most of the people do that. I also used to do that. But my question is it a good idea to do that?
Well, look, it's all about survival, first of all, right? If you're starting out and you're not making a lot of money and it kind of has to go back to the business so it to survive, yes. But as soon as you're getting enough to be able to start paying yourself, then yes, you should pull out a certain amount to pay yourself. And then with that, again, like I said, 10% should go into savings. So if you make, if you can make, let's say you make $1,000 a month that you could pay yourself, and there's still money going through the business, then that $1,000, $100 of that goes towards savings, like locked up somewhere else.
Okay.
Because I feel like the problem is that there's only so much time that you can do that, and you're kind of not, but you're a very valuable employee, solo entrepreneur. You basically are it. But I feel like it's important to also pay yourself, because then you could also start paying the bills and all that stuff. And it's like, you kind of separate the business from you, and then you start generating more money for the business. Once you start pulling a little bit out, then you kind of have to get things moving and being more successful, because you're not going to be able to make it on a small amount. You're going to have to keep generating more and more income. So I think the necessity goes in, but definitely if you are able to do that, yeah.
Okay. So is there any other tips that you can share for them to save more money other than what we already discussed?
No, I think that it basically depends on them. And
Okay.
today is basically the day to start, or tomorrow, obviously, depending on the time. But I would highly recommend people to really get started and to
Start
get a specific, to start early. The earlier, you're never going to be as young as you are today, right? So you always have to start today, because tomorrow is another day. So I always say start even with something small and work your way up. If the income is not where it should be, so you only have a small amount every month, so take a portion of that small amount and put it away.
Right.
But make sure it's not accessible, because if they can get to it too quickly, it'll be gone. So that's and it's just force yourself to do that as a habit. Once you start doing that every month, you won't look back, because it's a muscle that's already, you're getting it to move, you're doing it already. You're not going to go back. You just have to keep doing that, and then it will stay that way, and you'll get used to doing that.
Okay.
I
So
hope that helped. They should definitely get
yes,
on the
that was very
webinar.
helpful.
Thank you.
Your email ID has not reached the comment. I think
I'm
you
telling
have
you, there's
to
something going on. I can't even. I can.
It's
Let
okay.
me see if I
You
can.
can later on go back to the comments and then post the
Maybe I can
link.
do it on. Yeah. Let me go back to. You know what I could do? Okay, let me go back to the chat. I don't know why it didn't really. Should I just go? Maybe I'll go into comments.
Yeah, you can go to the comments and leave the email ID and the link.
Okay, let me see. Oh, it's not letting me. It's not letting me put it in. Okay, let me see. Maybe I can. Let me see if I can message you real quick. I'll just message you, because I don't know. It's not letting me put it in. It doesn't like my iPad. I don't know why it won't let me. Okay, here, let me. I'm gonna message you right now, and you can copy it.
Okay, you have sent it to the private chat. Can you see on the right side, like there is a comment box? If you are on the computer or laptop, you can find
I'm
on the right hand.
I'm on the iPad. That's the problem.
That's why, like, because they have the option of comments, banners. You can go to settings.
Here, I just messaged you That's my email. They should just send me their phone number, and I'll have their email, since they're emailing me, and I'll just, and tell me which time works for them. We have 12 5 and 8 p.m. Pacific. So they could basically message me. They could just tell me which one they want to get on, and I'll put them on.
Okay. So, like, I think I have asked all the questions which I wanted to know.
That's awesome.
If members have any questions, you can ask your questions in the comment box so that like we can get it answered in this live itself directly from Ravit. Yeah, so I think like we had a wonderful session with you, Ravit, and it was very informative and useful session. Extremely useful for the beginners who are starting out, who have not thought about uh, reaching their financial freedom or making a saving or even working on their expense income part. So it is high time now, as Ravit said, like there is no tomorrow. Today is the right time to start it. So think about working on your income, generate more income, build your wealth, work on your expenses, start building your savings. And if you have any questions, like you can ask, like we can ask Ravit for another session if you have more questions. So thank you, Ravit, once again for coming to the Marvelous Entrepreneurs. We are grateful for you for that. We actually missed your webinar. I wanted your webinar to happen inside this, but think of it for some other day.
Yes, definitely. I'll as soon as I hear of any other ones, I'll also let you know, because it's really amazing. I would highly recommend it. So yeah. And and if you want to put just the my email address in the chat, because I just messaged you the email.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, perfect. It's basically rlfinancialguru@gmail.
Okay.
Guru is GURU. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So thank you once again. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
So I hope this session was useful. Do let me know your feedbacks and questions if you have any on this particular topic, because your feedback will help me know to plan the future activities. So please do let me know your feedback and comments. Thank you. Bye-bye.